Hey boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Keith the Misprint Guy, and welcome to week 44, in which I share with you all kinds of strange and unusual cards from a game called Magic the Gathering. Misprints, test prints, if there's something downright weird with it, I want to share it with you. So now what do I have for you this week? Well, one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm sure everyone who has played for a considerable length of time, is that there are two different versions of Magic cards. There's the old card frame and the new card frame. It was 8th edition, in which they decided that they were going to introduce a brand new card frame and have stuck with that ever since. Well, they didn't just roll out of bed one day and decide, hey, let's just change things. This was actually a huge executive decision in which they had to come up with a lot of ideas, many of which did not stick, which in most cases I think are great. And so we have some rare examples of what they thought they might do. And what these cards are called are 8th edition test prints. Now here are two of them right here. This is a Shock and a Spellbane Centaur. And in all cases, they have a white back. Now with these cards, the overwhelming majority of the ones I've seen, they have what is a Judgement rarity symbol. It's depending on its rarity, they have common, uncommon, and rare. But they all have Judgement, and then a few of them have Unglued. And there's no real rhyme or reason as to why, at least that I know of, why they picked what they picked, but they have either of those two sets. Now, if you took a good look here, there are card frame differences. Now, let me just drop in a scan of two other cards, and this will make things a lot easier for you to see the difference. Now, that is a Mahamadi Djinn and another Mahamadi Djinn. And when you take a look at those two cards, you'll see that one has the casting cost on the left with the rest of the card kind of pushed to the right, and then you have the opposite version. Now, the interesting thing, and I'm kind of glad they didn't do this, is the casting cost went down the card there instead of across. And the other thing that seems kind of strange is, yeah, they had in their heads that they were going to take and put the casting cost on the left. Now, maybe if they did that day one, it would have made sense. But the problem is, we have the we have the old cards. We still want to use the old cards, even cards that get reprinted. I mean, who wouldn't want to have some beta lightning bolts or something like that in their deck? Now, the thing is that I also found kind of interesting about these is here is a basic land, and this is a mountain. And here's the thing: in all four cases that I have, or I'm sorry, all five cases that I have seen, I'm pretty sure all five basic lands exist, and they have just the mana casting cost really big there, and then they have a text box that is the corresponding color to what it provides. But another thing that is kind of interesting is there's this weird bar going down this, and I've only seen these on the lands. And in the case of a land, they have the bar color, it coordinates with the mana that it provides. So now let me drop in a scan of another card. And I'm sure you're familiar with this card. That is a Pain Land, and those were originally printed in Ice Age, and they've been reprinted since. But the neat thing is that color bar is two different colors because the land provides two different colors. Now, the thing is about these cards is, I mean, obviously there's quite a bit to them that they did not do. But in either case, be it left or right, the artist information and card information runs up the card. And the interesting thing is, every single one of these test prints say it's card number 000 of 000. And so it is also kind of hard for us to understand how many cards like this were made. I've seen a very comprehensive list, and I think it's pretty accurate because I have not been able to find anything that is not on this list, but it's about 60 cards. And so in each case, you're going to have a left frame and a right frame. And again, most Judgment, some are Unglued. Now, another thing that is also kind of neat is the Unglued cards. We have a foil version. I have not yet been able to find or prove that there are foil versions of the cards that have Judgment, but the Unglued, we have a foil. So yes, here we go. Llanowar, it's foil. It's still got that shooting star, the old school shooting star, and it's foiled pretty much like cards were at that given moment, because I know foils have evolved over the years. In fact, I've done some videos on them. So that is really all I can think of. I mean, I'm looking at these thinking, all right, what didn't I say? But that's really about it. With these cards, I mean, we're talking about 60 cards, most of which are not foil, but some are. So you're either going to have a left frame and a right frame non-foil, or you're going to have a left frame, right frame, foil, and non-foil. So you're talking 2 or 4 of each of these cards. And then, of course, most of you want me to talk price. The problem with these right now is the prices are all over the place. So a general guide here, remember it's April of 2013, we're talking a couple $100s on up. So there are some junky cards. Some of them actually did not even end up in 8th edition, like Counterspell. So I mean, it was just kind of like a legitimate guess as to what might end up in 8th edition. But when you're talking a good card, Llanowar Elf, Counterspell, I think there's a City of Brass and a Wrath of God, Disenchant. When you're talking good cards, obviously the prices are going to get much higher, but I don't think you're going to find any of these for less than $300, maybe $250. So that's really what you can expect to pay, 2, 3 on up, and with the white back, not tournament legal, so don't think that you can play with these. Besides, they're also a little bit thin, so I mean, I have been known to play with some of my screwed up cards, but these are just too, I don't know, they're too fragile. So that's really it. Questions, comments, concerns, as always, feel free to get a hold of me, email me, it's coming up in a few seconds. Subscribe. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon, alright? So take care.